it's Marie Savage from Banana Dog Vintage here. Welcome to the Reseller Life. Today's episode is about top 10 tips for resellers when they go shopping. So let's jump right in with tip number 1. Create a budget before you ever go to the store. I think that's really important because you're the only one who knows your household expenses. You're the only one who can tell you what you can afford to lose. You never want to go into the store, overspend, end up in a bad place if something doesn't sell. So create a budget and create a cushion in it. And that was Banana Dog. Tip number 2. Why not go looking for the things you already know something about? For instance, if you're a gardener, maybe you can start off looking for things that would be of interest to gardeners. It's a way to find what your niche might be, but it's also very practical because you're the one who knows what gardening gadgets are, and you're the one who knows whether or not a tulip pusher thing. I'm not a gardener, but you're the one who knows whether that's a good idea and if it's something that sells and if it sells for enough profit. You're already familiar with the things that are in that category. It's a good idea for you to start with things that you already know about. And one of those is start with the stuff that's in your own house. It's free. No problem selling it because you already know it so well. And you can give recommendations about it for how to use it because you've used it yourself. So tip number 3, this one, I think I probably say everything's very important, but this one really is very important to me. It's deciding what you're not going to sell. This helps narrow down all of those crazy things that are out there to sell. Well, I don't sell things that are racist. I don't sell things that are from the far right. I don't sell things that are sexist. I don't sell things that have alcohol branding on them. And that's because I have an alcoholic in my family and we've had a lot of trouble, over the years with that issue. So even though I still have a drink and I will sell decanters for their decorative value, I don't sell anything that has alcohol branding on it. I also don't obviously sell anything that makes jokes about alcohol because unfortunately it's a very serious subject when somebody gets addicted. So I don't go there. Your list of things may be slightly different, and that's okay. This is your business. You make your own decisions. I make decisions based on whether or not I think the object that I'm going to sell is of value to somebody or to society. So that's a lot of pressure perhaps to put on yourself, but I actually believe it. If I find a racist object, I don't want to pass that on to somebody else. Tip number 4, this can save you a lot of money. I say take your camera phone to the store and practice with that first. And I think you should do this at least twice before you actually start buying anything. If you take your phone to the store, you can take a look at things and take pictures of the top, the bottom, any possible damage that you see, a full-on picture of what it is, like this mug, and then you can look it up when you get home. So you haven't spent any money, but you are learning a lot. Do that at least twice and with at least 10 objects each time. Now, you don't have to space that out over a huge amount of time, but I really advise you to do that because otherwise you could end up spending a lot of money without coming home with anything that you can actually make money with. And it'll practice your research skills, and I think you're going to find that you really get to enjoy it because research is one of the biggest parts of our business. Tip number 5, take some things with you that make the choosing easier. For instance, I carry a very little measuring tape. It's about 6 feet long. I got it at the hardware store for probably $1. Take a flashlight. That way you can look into deep things to see if there are any cracks or hairline cracks that you really should know about before you purchase something. Take a black light. You can see if you have some uranium glass, and you'll be surprised what turns out to be uranium glass. There are all kinds of colors. It's not just sort of the greeny yellow color out there. All kinds of colors can have uranium in it, and it's really fun to carry that around and check them out. Some of the marks on things are very small. Take a magnifying glass. So you've done the shopping, and the last thing you definitely have to have in your kit is hand sanitizer. I can't emphasize that enough. I really recommend it. You don't know how many other people have been touching that object during the day, and it's better to be safe than sorry. Tip number 6. Tip number 6 is, as I said in another video I did, just because something was very popular doesn't mean that it still is. And just because something sold for a lot when it was popular doesn't mean it still does. So in my other episode, I use the example of precious moments, and you will find a lot of people still think that precious moments are super collectible. Well, they may be, but they don't go for very much in general. You may find some that do go for more money, and that's fine. Do your research, find that out. But do the research before you buy the object. Otherwise, you'll have a table full of precious moments and nobody to sell them to. And that goes for other things as well. There may be things that have a very popular name on them, but aren't really worth very much. So this is a little Pyrex custard bowl. Now, when I was young, my mom used to cut up strawberries and put a little milk and sugar in with them, and I have quite an attachment to these little things, but honestly, they're not worth a whole lot. So just because it says Pyrex on the bottom doesn't mean it's going to be a huge seller or have a huge amount of profit. If you're buying a bowl, for instance, for $8, it might only be worth 10 or 12. So you want to be sure that you check everything before you buy it. Tip number 7, slow down. Slow down when you're at the store. There's no rush to buy anything. Put things in your cart so you can take a look at them at your own pace. So that's what I do. When I go to a really big store, I end up filling up my cart with the things that I think are interesting and then going find a quiet spot to sit down and check them all before I put most of them back on the shelf. The other reason you want to go slow is because you want to be able to find any damage if there is any. So you want to be able to run your finger. You've probably seen Sue on Sue Me or Jocelyn on the Crazy Lamp Lady or any other number of YouTubers run their finger around the edge of glassware and other things to see if they find any chip or flea bite. The flea bites will really get you because you don't necessarily see them right away. So you want to be able to do that slowly and not rush yourself. I once bought a set of Fitz and Floyd, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Speak No Evil, frogs. Monkeys. Sorry, monkeys. And I bought them, everything was wrapped up. I looked everything over really carefully, and it turned out one of the frogs had a big chip on one of its feet. That frustrated me because I thought I'd checked them over so carefully. Well, I was in a bit of a rush, and what happened was I had picked up the same monkey twice, but didn't realize it because I wasn't really paying attention. So that was a $7.50 investment that I still haven't tried to sell, and I'm not sure how much I'll get for it. A perfect set would probably get me over $60, but I don't know. With this big chip, I don't know what the market is for that. Don't make that mistake. Check everything at the store. So, tip number 8, it's all about the shipping. Shipping is going to be one of your biggest tasks. You want your things to get there safely. You want the buyer to be happy with the job that you did. And you want to protect your investment. Keep your stuff small at first because then you don't run into the problems of the huge rate increases in the US for things like selling a big lamp in a big box. And it'll give you an opportunity to practice on fragile items if that's what you're selling and get them there safely before you try some of the bigger stuff. I think you want to be sure that you are good at shipping before you try to sell things that are a lot more expensive or even a lot more fragile. For instance, a lamp. So you prepared before you left for the store, you did everything you were supposed to do at the store, and now you're home. One thing you're going to find out, and it happens to everybody, is there's going to be some duds. No matter how much you try, there's always going to be some duds. And like I said at the beginning, that kind of has to be figured into your budget because you can't beat yourself up and you can't leave yourself destitute over a few mistakes. All businesses have losses of some kind, and yours will be no different. So you may find a dud or somebody may drop something. Anything can happen, and you end up losing the investment. So that investment might be tiny, like maybe $2 for a bug, or it could be more if you've moved into more expensive things. You want to be sure that you can afford to take those losses, but also don't be too disappointed when they happen, because they do happen to everybody. So tip number 10 is you want to be sure this is for you. This is one of those things that maybe doesn't fit into your lifestyle. You may be wanting a little bit of extra cash, but there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on before you get that money. And that includes the time to go shopping, and the time to list things, and the time to take those photographs, the time to deal with customer questions, the time to handle your finances, and the inventory has to have a place to go, and you have to have time for packing and shipping, and then you have to have time for your life. So tip number 10 is pay attention. If it's not working for you, that's okay. And if it is working for you but not too well, take a break, think about it, find out how it can work better. I'm Marie Savage from Banana Dog Vintage, and this is the Reseller Life. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.